Forest Park Council meeting, January 5th, 2015. Let's stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Burns.
Here.
Otto. Herbie.
Here.
Holt. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Lives.
Here.
Southall.
Here.
Is there a motion to excuse? Councilwoman Herbie.
Yes, I move to excuse Councilwoman Cottle.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we excuse Councilwoman Cottle. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of excusing Councilwoman Cottle, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Cottle is excused. Next item on the agenda is the minutes. You all received copies of the minutes in your packet. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Item number 3 is presentations. I have no presentations listed on the agenda for this evening. Councilman Lives, is there a motion?
I'd like to move to amend the agenda and add as item A under new business, a motion to concur with the mayor's appointment of Mr. Southill to the OKI Board of Trustees, Southall to the OKI Board of Trustees for the term commencing 1/8/15.
Second.
Southall.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda to add item A on the new business, that's the appointment of Mr. Southall to the OKI Board of Trustees. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend the agenda? Hearing none, would the clerk call the roll on that motion?
Burns.
Yes.
Herbie.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes,
Lives.
Yes.
Southall.
Yes.
the motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is communications from the public. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments or question. Council meetings are taped recorded for ease of transcription. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak? Seeing none, we go to item number 5, reports of standing committees. The first report is Public Improvement and Facilities, Mr. Southall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening. First, I'd like to say, wish everyone in the sound of my voice a healthy and a prosperous new year to 2015. My report is going to be very brief. I have I noticed in the last report that we have on foreclosures, something that I don't normally like to deal with, but I noticed that the foreclosures are dropping slightly, so that's a good thing. And then today I happened to be accidentally run into a situation at one of our foreclosures where the persons, I guess the contractor or whoever it was venting some things about Forest Park, and incidentally, while I'm talking about this, what I want to do is I want to congratulate staff because seemingly I don't know what you've been doing in the past, but apparently you must be turning the burner up a little bit, so that's fine. So because when the banks and that get foreclosures, they cut the grass, that's fine. But there's other things that has to be done. There's shrub need to be dealt with. There's other parts of the gutters or something that's hanging down and stuff like that. So evidently staff must be putting the fire under them a little bit. So, and then again, I also like to say that I'd like to place on the agenda for our next work session to discuss and take a look at our code violation ordinances, and also there's couple things that I ran across that could be a tip to kind of aid staff in dealing with the bank and some of these absentee folks. So that's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to fill any questions that anybody would have.
Any questions for Mr. Southall? Hearing none. Mr. Southall, in order to put that item on the agenda that you requested, I'm going to ask that you give some thought to that in terms of narrowing that to specific code violations, because just say code violations, that's a very, very broad issue and topic, and in order for staff to be able to prepare to provide you with information, they're going to need more information from you.
I will certainly provide that, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Southall, I have no items on the agenda for you for the work session on the 5th. Do you have any others to add other than the one you mentioned?
No, sir, I do not. Thank you.
Next committee is Ways and Means Committee, Councilwoman Herbie.
I have no report, but I'd also wish everyone a healthy, happy New Year.
Any questions for Councilwoman Herbie? Councilwoman Herbie, I have one item for you, Cincinnati Testing Lab / Incentive Agreement Banking, two items, actually. And the second item is Banking Services. Do you have any to add?
No, sir.
Okay, next report is Community Development Committee, Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report this evening, but I would answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Mr. Burns? Hearing none. Mr. Burns, I have no items for you. Do you have any to add?
No, thank you.
Next report is Law Committee. Councilwoman Cottle is absent. Does anybody on the Law Committee have any report for her? Hearing none, I have no items for Law Committee on the agenda for the next work session. Next item on the agenda is Human Resources Committee. Councilwoman Holt.
I do not have a human resource report tonight, but I too would like to wish everybody a happy, prosperous 2015. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Councilwoman Holt? Hearing none, Councilwoman Holt, I have no items on the agenda for you for the next council meeting, next work session. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, next report would be Public Safety Committee, Councilman Lives.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to state that I saw in the departmental reports that the police department has conquered the storage problem of Mayor's Court and has done an excellent job of rearranging their storage, which if any of us have that closet at home that you keep shoving stuff into, the police department was reaching the limit. So this not only saves them some funds and money, it also gets it more organized, and thanks to the police department. And thanks to the fire department for their safety tips, which I try and point out each time. We didn't have any this time because we didn't have any, hopefully, any fires or problems, but over the holiday season. But again, I wanted to thank, since the chief is here, that those little tips and things are very useful and helpful. So keep them coming. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, the next committee report would be Intergovernmental Communications and Relations. That's my committee. I have no report. I'd answer any questions if there are any. Hearing none. There's one agenda item on. There was an item that was asked to be placed on the agenda regarding the Recreation Department, I believe regarding their the applications that would be on the agenda for the work session on the 12th. Next item on the agenda, item number 6, is the mayor's report. I have no report at this time. Item number 7, city manager's report. Mr. Hodges.
Thank you. Two things I'll report. One, I'll call your attention to the departmental reports that were included in your packet and also placed on file with the clerk of council for public inspection. We may have had 2 less departmental reports than typical because of the holiday season, but overall the reports were available. I think there was a comment or a question.
Yeah,
Councilwoman Herbie.
yeah, right. I know that Wright always has a Christmas tree recycling event. Has that passed, or is that still?
I believe he's still in the process, but that's underway. It has been underway, right?
It's okay, but they are having it again this year.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And the second thing that I wanted to report is we have been trying to address the mall, Forest Fair Village or Cincinnati Mall, or formerly Forest Fair. And we're right at the point where I believe they are appealing the last ruling to make certain repairs or, in essence, cease operation as an overall mall. We are going forward with that. Typically, over the years, they've been able to pull sort of a rabbit out of their hat and do something just enough to stay open, but I believe their deadline is coming up, so I'm just calling it to your attention because it may result in, if they don't win their appeal or get some extension or something like that, we may be forced to, in essence, close the mall. That's not a great headline, but nevertheless, that's where we're at. Kind of clarify, in closing the mall, it wouldn't affect Bass Pro, it wouldn't affect Kohl's, it would affect all the inner stores, and it would affect Babies R Us. So what I'm trying to describe to you is, when you say close the mall, you got some standalone buildings, and they would still continue to operate, but you would have to close the overall mall and that type of thing. As I say, it may not occur. As it stands right now, it would occur. I think, Alfie, that's around the 9th or so? Right, so they have to make some decisions. What we want them to do is make decisions and make the repairs. They have consistently suggested that they made the repairs, which they have not done. So it becomes a public health, safety, and welfare issue that you can't have people in the mall where it's unsafe. So I call that to your attention because if it comes to that point where you have to basically padlock the doors to the overall mall, that's probably a newsworthy event, and we are fast approaching that point. But I just finish with saying they have consistently been able to pull a rabbit out of their hat that lets them extend the time in some form or fashion, and maybe the 9th will not occur, but that's where we stand right now. So that would conclude my report, but I would respond to any questions if there are any.
Barnes?
So, Ray, I think the last time we had a potential snow event, there was some concern about salt. Do we still have that concern?
Yeah, we still have the concern, only because we're still relatively in the early part of the winter season. Our winter season goes over the last year and into the early spring. But we're doing better. We're in a better position than where we would have been, say, last year, because we really haven't salted very much. Now, a lot of people don't really appreciate, even if we get a little ice on the ground, we will probably salt some areas. We'll salt the bridges, we'll salt what we consider the hills and things like that. But overall, we're in good shape. We're feeling real good right now. Now, if the season changes and you get just a lot of snow, it doesn't have to be heavy snow, it doesn't have to be a large quantity. If you just consistently get a lot of snow, you got to throw a lot of salt, you might have problems. The overall problem is, if you run out of salt, you're not likely to get any more. That's what it boils down to. As we stand right now today, we're in good shape, and in that scenario where we're probably better than most communities. But it's just a matter of how much snow and freezing conditions you get. But right now, we're in good shape. That's not a problem area for us today.
So with the pending weather advisory, we're probably going to have a minimal salt distribution or measured salt distribution like we had the last time, or are we anticipating a full?
The one event doesn't represent any concern for us. We have to think in terms of the long term. And just because you get snow doesn't make the difference. It's how that snow falls, what the temperature of the ground is, and things like that. So if we just get snow, that's okay, because we're probably not going to salt anyway. We're going to plow it first. We're not going to go and throw salt and then come back and plow it. So it depends on how it falls and how long it falls and things like that. We're okay if we get a large quantity compared to a lot of little snowfalls. one large quantity means you're plowing snow. A lot of little snowfalls or almost no snow but freezing rain, you're salting.
So residents could expect just a normal snow removal process, depending on what happens tonight, because there is a 1 to 3 inch warning out there.
Right. As I say, one event doesn't represent a concern. We got to think in terms of weeks, and that's what's going to make the difference. As we started off the season, we gave notice to the community in general. We have to be more conservative with our salt. We got to be more strategic in how we place it and things like that. And we have to continue that. The only good thing is, okay, now we're through December. That's good. But it could still be a long snow season. We got several months ahead of us. And again, it's not just snow, it's how it falls and when it falls and what the temperature is and whether or not the temperature is coming right behind it. Are they going to rise or are they going to fall? If they're going to rise pretty rapidly, you don't have to worry as much as if things are going to freeze over. So again, this one event, I'd say, no, that's not our concern. We got to think in terms of weeks to be really concerned. But our snow supply today is good.
You mean our salt?
Salt.
Our salt.
Somebody's coming.
Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Hodges? Hearing none, we go to item number 8, other reports. The first of those is the Law Director, Mr. Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hodges touched on the issue I was going to report to council, and that is the Forest Fair Mall issue. Chief Jones and myself and several other people, including the attorneys representing the owner, Cincinnati Holding, LLC, and the Fairfield representatives met last Friday. Since that meeting, I did receive a copy of the appeal filed on behalf of the owners. What they're appealing is the decision of the Board of Building Appeals up in Columbus, and that appeal by statute will be expedited, which usually means within 60, 90 days at most, there should be a hearing. But I don't even think we'll get to that point. During the meeting, I came away with the impression that the city of Fairfield, although they really don't have a dog in the fight that we're involved in, they are fully behind us and they support what we're doing. The attorneys representing the owner really are not disputing the factual findings of violations. What they are presenting is a request to have an agreement, some sort of workout of these problems. And in theory, certain issues were discussed, and the meeting concluded with the thought that this coming Friday, if it's still going to go forward, there's going to be a follow-up meeting amongst all of us to see what definitive plan the attorneys have come up with. When they file the appeal, they do not get an automatic stay of our administrative procedure. So we have decided, Chief Jones and myself and Rafiq Nakuzi, our building director, that if we are not satisfied with the proposal being made on Friday being a definitive short-term resolution, that we will probably be proceeding with the shuttering of the mall. And as Mr. Hodges indicated, that will not affect the outlets. The two active businesses that would be affected would be Babies R Us and the cinema. Is that correct? And there's one other tenant in there running several businesses, but no one seemed too concerned because they're not even sure if that person's a legal tenant or not. But that's where we stand. By Friday, we should have at least a better path, or a clearer path, rather, to be following and to see what we do. But we certainly are all in agreement. I think even the attorneys for the owners are in agreement that these are true safety issues that just cannot be left alone, that they have to be addressed. That's the end of my report, unless there are any questions.
Any question for the Law Director, Mr. Barnes?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think in light of all of this, because I think everyone here is in agreement that that building or that the mall does pose a safety risk. And in light of this, I would like to at least get a report in our next work session, which is basically next week, on the status, and whatever the actions may have been, or what, where we stand at that time.
Right, you make a note of that. Any further questions for the Law Director, Councilwoman Herbie?
Yeah, John, haven't we been down this path with them before, that they've entered into agreements that they've not lived up to?
Well, this particular owner has been very bad in following through.
Yeah.
These lawyers are brand-new lawyers, and before we even met, they made clear that they recognized not only the problem with the building, but the problem with the owner, and that they were going to essentially make sure that owner stays on path. So, but because of that history, that's exactly why we're not going to have any patience. Well, as I indicated during the meeting, we have spent our patience.
Anything else, Mr. Southall?
Yes. John, you mentioned Fairfield. Explain that to me. What kind of situation are they in with us?
Well, the violations don't affect the portion of the mall that is in Fairfield's territory. I forget exactly where the division is, but
Roughly Kohl's in the park.
Yeah,
And they have
that's it.
Roughly have 20% of the mall.
Okay,
80% of the covered malls.
okay, that's fine. That's what. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Chief.
Next, report of Clerk of Council.
Thank you,
Mrs.
Mr.
Hoffman.
Mayor. I'd like to report that ordinance numbers 17 through 20-2014 and resolution numbers 47 through 50-2014 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Clerk of Council? Hearing none, move to next item, item 9, new business. Is there a motion, Mr. Lives?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to concur with the mayor's appointment of Mr. Southill to the OKI Board of Trustees for the term commencing 1/8/15.
Second.
It's moved and second that we pass a motion to concur with the mayor's appointment of Mr. Southall to the OKI Board of Trustees for the term commencing 1/8/15. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I believe this is just a voice vote. Is it correct?
Yes.
All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes, and Mr. Southall is thus appointed. Is there any other business to come before the council? Any other business to come before the council? Hearing none. Council meeting is adjourned.